So I'd like to give a very, very warm welcome to everybody today. Thanks for joining us live for our workshop. My name is Jess and I will be manning the Q&A panel and the chat. I'd like to introduce Jess, who is going to take us through our workshop today around creating impressive videos for your business. Over to you, Jess.
Thank you so much, Jess. So welcome everyone. Today's Canvas-based workshop is on creating impressive videos for your business. So just a quick introduction as to who I am. My name is Jess and I'm also from Canva and I am the product design lead for the video group here. So I look after everything in our video product and most importantly, our video editor, which we'll be talking through today. But if you all don't already know, Canva is a free tool and you can visit canva.com and start designing without even signing in. So today I'm going to show you around our video editor. Canva is more than just a product. We're a company with a very ambitious mission to empower the whole world to design. And we're doing okay so far with over 50 million monthly active users, doubling in size every year in every country in over 100 languages. But as our founder, Melanie, always says, we're only 1% of the way there. So hands up if video creation sounds scary and overwhelming.
We're getting some yeses in the chat. Yep.
Yes, yes, yes.
Lots of yeses.
Yes, absolutely. It can be extremely scary and daunting. And I can totally relate to you there when I was not making videos many years ago. So you're in the right spot because in this session, I'll be going through our Canvas video editor. So we'll understand how we've made this video creation tool super simple for everyone to use. I'll also be running through what makes an effective promo and ad. So how we can harness Canva's video templates and our editor to create a show-stopping promo. I'll also be quickly sharing how you can do it on mobile. So you can quickly create videos on the go. And then lastly, I'll be sharing some handy video tips and resources. So first off, we're going to have a look at Canva's video editor. But first, let's have a look at Canva's latest video promo when we launched the editor just last month.
Ready to play? Play with your story, your style, your sound. Play with something new. Play with motion, emotion. The ocean? Play in the moment. Play with the moment. Because there's always a way to make work feel like play. Start designing for free at canva.com.
So as you can see, Canva's video editor looks a little bit different to traditional video editors. And that's because we've removed the complexity that comes with layering and with tracks with traditional video editors. We've made it super simple so you can edit what's on the canvas as you would with any other design. And also, most importantly, it aligns with one of our values to make complex things simple. So making the complexity of video editing super simple. So now I'm going to show you a little bit around our video editor before diving into it. So when you're on the homepage, we have a wide range of video templates you can choose from by tapping on the video icon, so you don't need to worry about resizing your video at all. In the templates tab, you can search for a video template like I'm doing here, and then you can scroll through and search for any video template like you would for any other template in Canva. And then you can hover to preview. So I'm hovering here, and then you can simply click on the template to apply it to the editor. You can select elements like I'm selecting the element here, delete it, select another, resize it directly on the canvas like anywhere else in Canva. The thing that makes our video editor super simple is you don't need to learn too many new things. On the left-hand panel, you can go to the video tab and might be in the more tab if you can't see it to access a wide range of free videos from our stock library. You can search for any videos. I searched for streetwear since this is a sales video. And then when you found one, you can simply drag and drop it in to replace. You might notice the bottom of the editor looks a little bit different, and that's because we now have the video editor or the timeline. It makes video editing and video timing super easy since you can see all the frames of the video. You can drag the edges to adjust the timing of the video. So you can see here that I'm trimming each of the scenes to be 3 seconds. You can also hold down and scrub the little playhead, so that's that line, through the video, or press play directly in the video playback in the canvas. So you can see the video is being played back really nicely in the canvas there, which is an awesome new feature. And you might also want to zoom in the timeline so you can see the thumbnails a little bit more easily. And we have this zoom slider down in the bottom, which you can toggle to zoom the canvas or the timeline. You might also notice a line in your timeline. And when you click on it, this is actually audio tracks. You can access audio on the left panel. If it's not there, it might be in the More tab. And to add audio, simply drag and drop it in. And you can layer multiple audio tracks, but we'll go into audio editing a little bit further in our demo. So once again, I've just clicked play to see it play back in the canvas. And if I click the plus icon between pages, I have the option to easily add a page or a transition. I can preview them by hovering them or apply one simply by selecting it. So I'll select here, so I'll select slide. I can change its direction and duration. And here I'm adjusting its duration. And then once again, I'll play the video back so I can preview the context of the transition in relation to my entire video. So as you can see, we've just made it super simple for everyone. If you can use Canva, you can use our video editor, which is the great thing about it. So let me know in the chat, have you used a video editor before and stopped using it because it was actually too hard?
A lot of yeses coming through.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
it can be quite a steep learning curve, can't it?
Absolutely. So this is something that we've actually heard from many, many people, which is why Canva has to now reimagine how videos are actually made, because we don't want people dropping off because they actually just find it way too hard. Great. So now we're going to jump into effective ads and promos. So I'm going to share a little bit about how to create an effective ad. So what actually makes an effective ad or promo? So this is a bit more about creating the content. So first of all, for a video ad, you want to make sure that it's short and snappy. Lingering on the same scene or the same thumbnail for more than 4 seconds can make it less engaging, particularly in a time where attention spans are super low. So think TikTok, think everything is super short and snappy. So I actually recommend a maximum of 3 to 4 seconds per scene. Unless the video footage itself is super engaging, you don't want to be lingering on it for more than 3 to 4 seconds. Make sure there is a narrative to your promo or ad. A good narrative starts strong and ends strong. So when viewers watch it, it's really strong at the beginning, so it creates that hook, and then they have a good takeaway at the end, which leads me to my next point. The first 3 seconds is critical. Facebook actually suggests that social media videos must hook audiences within the first 3 seconds. And we can achieve this by making the first 3 seconds relatable to our target audience. And I'll touch on this a little bit more shortly. Be careful with stock videos. Make sure stock videos don't feel too staged, since this impacts audience empathy. So just be careful with your selection of the video that you do use if it's not your own footage. A great way to hook audiences within those first 3 seconds is to actually make it relatable. I try to put myself in the audience's shoes, since you're trying to appeal to them. For example, relate to one of your audience's problems and how your product or your company can solve for that problem. Or the ad can be really upbeat and visually eye-catching to hook their attention, and they can imagine themselves as the people in the ad. So that's how you really create that hook within the first 3 seconds. And is the music relevant? So make sure the tone and mood of the music matches the tone and mood of your ad. Don't just use generic music. Music can really change the tone of the ad. So now I'm going to show you an ad, and I want you to think about what this ad actually does well. So that was actually just a really quick 5-second ad there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think this ad works well. So the reason why this ad actually works well is it's really short and snappy. Snapchat actually has a great example of ads because they actually need to capture their audience within the first 5 seconds, or the audience might skip the ad. It's relatable so the audience can relate to the problem when the internet suggests something that doesn't interest them. And in this ad, it states the problem and then the solution within the first 3 seconds. There isn't actually any music in this ad because the narrative in itself is strong. So they've used the silence to their advantage here. So they don't really need music here. So you can see they've stated the problem, they've given the solution, which is have a Snickers, and the story is really strong and captivating. So I'm just going to jump into the next ad. So that was just a nice, another really quick and short and snappy ad. So it's also upbeat, so you want to bop to the music. So instantly you get that instant eye catchiness or ear catchiness, if that's a word. Everyone loves a good beat, and this really captures the relatability of creating a good beat that you can dance to. The stock imagery, they use stock imagery here, and it's relevant, and it flicks through it quickly. So it doesn't linger on it for more than 3 seconds, if that. So it's really eye-grabbing. So if you want really good references, I actually recommend going through Snapchat and waiting for ads to come up. I find them a really good source of inspiration of how can I create a really short, snappy, engaging ad in a really short amount of time. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to put all of this theory into practice. So I want you to put yourselves into these shoes. You want to create an ad for your new business. So I want you to imagine that you have a business called Bradson's Gelato. And in terms of that relatability factor, so remember when I said, is that video relatable? We want to capture the relatability by saying work is tiring. I'm sure we can all relate in the audience here that work is tiring. And sometimes you just want to treat yourself. And in this case, because we're a gelato company, we want to treat ourselves with ice cream. So that's going to be our hook for our video. And lastly, because we want to start strong, end strong, we're going to offer a promotion, which is free delivery with a code. So this is going to be the premise of our ad. I'm just going to quickly show you an example of how I've done that and what we're actually going to recreate in today's session. So this is the ad that we're actually going to recreate right now. So if you just go onto this link here, it should redirect you to a template that looks something like this. So you should be able to see my Canva with the template that says it's time to treat yourself. So I'm in the editor right now. Okay, so first of all, we've got this template here, which is one of our templates from our range of free video templates in Canva. So what I've actually done is I've just applied that template to our video editor by clicking apply to all pages. So now we've got this ready to go. First of all, the first thing I want to do is create a relatable hook. So the way that I'm going to do that is by stating the problem. So remember that I mentioned the problem here is that we're sick of working, we're tired of working. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to delete all this imagery here because this isn't actually relative to my gelato shop. I'm just going to delete all of this here. And I'm going to change the text here like I would with anything else in Canva and change it to more of a relatable question to our audience. So sick of working. So I'm just going to resize it like I would with anything else in Canva, move it around, delete an element. So select it, delete it. Super duper simple. Nothing should feel new there if you've used Canva before. Great. So now that we've got that done, what I actually want to put in the background here is a piece of video footage. So I don't actually have the videos tabs open here. So I can access that in the left-hand panel. When I click on more, this little more tab down there, and I go into the video tab here. So I just click on videos and it should open up a video tab. So you can see all our wide range of free stock videos here. So I'm actually going to search for a tired person working because I'm trying to create that relatable pain point. So you can see here that I've got a range of video footage of people who seem quite tired while they're working. So I want to pick a piece of footage here that when I drag and drop it into this frame here, their face isn't too close to the screen because you want to make sure that you frame the video quite nicely. So you can see this video here, the face is quite close. So if I drag and drop that in, you can see that doesn't really work because her face is just a little bit too close to the frame. So that's not really what I'm going for. So if I scroll through, I want to find someone who's not too close to the camera. This one actually looks quite good here. She's a little bit far away from the camera. So what I've done is I've just dragged and dropped it in and it's replaced the background there. So now I'm going to double click on the video and just move the camera a little bit more to the center. So I have her face a little in the center on our screen. So now you can see here that I've got this female here who seems quite sleepy at her desk. you know, the text is framed quite nicely. I can move the text if I want to, just so it's not all over her face. And now I have a beautiful frame of a woman who seems quite tired at work. And, you know, that relatable hook is sick of working. I'm sure we can also say yes to that. So we've got that relatable hook. So now if we look down in the bottom bar on the timeline here, I can actually hold down on this plate, as I mentioned, to scrub the video. By doing that, what I can actually do is I can quickly preview the video. I can play it, but once I play it, it plays with all the sound, but I'll quickly show you what that might look like. So you can see here, just by hovering over this first scene, it shows me the time badge here, which is 12 seconds, which is a little bit too long because, as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, you don't want it to be more than 3 to 4 seconds. So I'm actually going to reduce this to 3 seconds. But the way that I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to split the video. So that means divide up the video into 2 sections, because what I actually want to do is I want to create a video that makes it look like the video plays seamlessly throughout 2 scenes. So if I right click where this playhead is, I get the option to split there. And what that does is it splits that entire scene into half. So if you just right click on that and then click split, you can see that the scene now has been divided into 2 sections. So I have my first scene here, which is 3 seconds, and my second scene, which I'm actually going to shorten to another 3 seconds. So now I have these 2 scenes. I actually want to change the text on the second scene to my solution, which is treating yourself to something. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to just change the text here to, it's time to treat yourself. I'm just going to adjust that text box there because the text is quite long. It's time to treat. And I'm actually going to duplicate this yellow one to just make it a little bit more staggered looking. So I can do that easily just by clicking on the text box there, holding down Option and dragging it. You can press Command C, Command V, copy and paste it if you want to, but it's time to treat yourself. I'm just going to rotate that slightly. It looks a little bit more visually dynamic. So now you can see my first scene here. I've got the problem, sick of working. It's time to treat yourself. So when I actually split the video, what that did was, when I play this back, it's going to look like the background video is playing seamlessly while the text on the top changes. So let's just preview that. So you can really see how the text flies in and out, but the video really prolongs throughout those 2 scenes. Great. So now we're going to jump into the third scene here. So now you can see, once again, we're back at that free template that we used as our baseline. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to change the name of Bradson's Downtown Diner to Bradson's Gelato, because that's the name of our company. I'm just going to change the text alignment so it's left aligned and move it a little bit more to the top. I'm going to delete all of this stock imagery here because we're not a burger shop. So just delete all of that. And I might just add in a little bit more text here. It says free delivery, but I'm just going to add a little bit more specificity and say we do free delivery. Great. So that's going to be my third scene here. So now you can really see the first scene was sick of working. So we've stated the problem, the relatability to the audience. It's time to treat yourself. So what is the solution that we can offer? Well, we can offer gelato, but we can also offer you free delivery. So I'm actually wanting to put a piece of gelato footage in the background just to add a bit more visual interest about what my company or my business does. So once again, in the videos tab on the left-hand panel, I'm going to look up gelato. So you can see here that I have all the stock footage that's related to gelato. I have people eating gelato, but I just want some footage of some generic gelato that, you know, you typically see inside an ice cream shop. So I actually quite like this one here. I can see it's 8 seconds. So when I actually drag and drop that in, so drag and drop into the background, the time of the scene will actually take the time of the video here. So once again, 7.7 seconds might be a little bit too long. So if I hover over the edges of the scene, you can see these handles come up. And what those handles mean is that you can drag it and hold down and drag it to readjust the timing of your video. So as I mentioned before, I want it to be between 3 and 4 seconds. So I might go for 3.5 seconds there. So you can see down the bottom here, it's actually getting a bit tiny because I'm reducing the timing of each of those scenes. So it might feel a bit small and a bit tight, but I'm actually going to go down to this bottom bar on the right-hand side. And you can see this toggle here between zoom thumbnails or zoom the page. But I want to zoom the thumbnails down here. So what this does, this slider, is I can zoom in and out. So that way I'm not having to deal with really tiny thumbnails. But if I click on that zoom thumbnails and switch it to zoom a page, what this slider does is it actually zooms in the canvas instead. But I'm just going to stick to zooming the thumbnails to get that right. I feel like this feels about the right size. So I'm not dealing with tiny scenes. So everything has been rescaled proportionally. Great, so now we have our 3 scenes. And lastly, I want to offer the promo code. And in our template here, we have, a promo code that's already put in as our last slide. So I'm just going to once again change that text there to say Bredson's Gelato. So I'm just going to highlight the text, rewrite it to Gelato. I'm just going to realign the text there, move it according to what I want to readjust it to. So I might just move it a little bit more to the top. Once again, delete all this imagery. That's the great thing about our templates is you can delete and customize, or you can keep it exactly as it is, depending on what your business is. Also got this rectangle down the bottom there that was part of the template. I'm actually just going to move that back to the top so it matches our previous scene. So I've got that yellow section at the top in our previous scene. I just want to replicate that here. So I've just dragged that rectangle to the top. And I'm just going to pop in another piece of footage there. So I've already got all the search results from Gelato on the left-hand side. So I'm going to look for another piece of stock footage that, I feel like represents my company. So I quite like this piece of stock footage here where it's showing all the flavors of Gelato, showing the range that my product can offer, particularly because you're already sick of working and you want to treat yourself. You might want to treat yourself to all the flavors. So once again, it's taken the timing of the video. So you can see here that it's 5.6 seconds, and I want to make that a little bit shorter. So what I can do once again is to drag the edges of my scene so that it is around 3 seconds. A nice little hack that you can do if your video is super duper long and you don't want to just drag it from the end. So imagine this is a 30-second video. A nice little hack that you can actually do is to move the playhead. So I can see here that the video starts at 9.5 seconds. 9.5 plus 3 seconds is 12.5 seconds. So I can move the playhead to 12.5 seconds, right click, and then access that split function again, and then just delete the latter part. So that's a really quick way to shorten your video, is to utilize that split function, which is a really, really great little resource. So now we should have a video that feels quite snappy. Let's just play it back I just brought the playhead back to the start and click play. Great, so that feels quite snappy, quite fun. I'm actually not really vibing this song. So if I go down the bottom here, you've got this line, and this line is actually the audio track when I click on it. So if I click on that, I can actually see that this is my audio track. So I want to change this. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select it and I'm going to delete it. And if I go back to my left-hand panel here, I can see that I don't really have music. So I can access that via the More tab as well. So you can see here, I've got the audio track. So if you don't have audio there already, you can select that from the More tab. I'm going to click on audio, and I can scroll all the different kinds of music tracks we have. So I can pick quite a poppy song. I can preview the track simply by clicking on the play button. That isn't really the vibe that I want. I want something a bit upbeat and a bit more fun, because it is ice cream at the end of the day. Ice cream is fun. It's not too serious. Piano isn't really suited to ice cream. Vocal, ambient, sad. We don't want sad ice cream. So I'm actually going to look at something more like a trailer because I feel like trailer, this is a little bit like a trailer. Salamanca, you can see the subtext here that it says hip hop, funny, happy. So I'm going for funny, I'm going for happy. Let's see what this sounds like. So that has quite tropical vibes. I can imagine myself, remember, I'm putting myself in the audience shoes. I can imagine myself on the beach, having ice cream, Bradson's gelato, along to this song. So I'm actually going to drag and drop that in. So when I drag and drop that in, what that actually did was it placed the audio track where my playhead is. So that's not a problem at all because the magic with Canva's video editor is you can simply drag the audio track and reposition it to any point in the timeline. So if I wanted it to only span the 4th scene, I can simply trim it to the 4th scene. But the other great thing is if I want a separate audio track for the 4th scene, I can move the playhead and drag and drop another track in and have those 2 tracks overlapping. So that's the other thing about our audio tracks is you can have multiple audio tracks overlapping. But in this case, I only want one audio track. So I'm just going to delete this yellow one again. And I'm going to play it back just to hear what it sounds like. So it still sounds like the audio track here is a little bit of that intro music. So a really quick hack to see what does the waveform look like. So if I double click on an audio track, I can see the entire waveform of that audio track. And the great thing about the waveform is the height of the waveform dictates how upbeat or how loud that music is. So you can see that the beginning here, the waveform is a little bit less high. Therefore, I know that it's a little bit more quiet as opposed to the waveform over on this left-hand side. So I'm actually going to drag it to where it starts around here, which looks like it's a little bit more upbeat because the height of the waveform is higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it to start where the waveform is a little bit higher. So this is the starting point of the waveform. So it's the starting point of the audio track. So now when I click anywhere out of it, you can see that the music track has selected that portion of the audio because I've adjusted it. If you don't have access to double click or you forget to double click, that's absolutely fine. Just select the audio track again. And then in our top toolbar, you have the ability to adjust. Another little trick is you can right click and you can adjust via there instead. I'll just do that again. So I can click adjust and it'll show that view that I wanted again. If I right click, you can adjust the volume, you can duplicate the audio track, you can delete it, but I'm quite happy with this. Let's see if it's playing a more upbeat part of the song. Immediately you can see it's more upbeat, and that's because I picked the part of the audio track that was a bit more higher, so I know exactly where it is going to play. Okay, so now we're going to add some finishing touches to our video. So I actually want to add a bit of a transition between this 3rd scene and this 4th scene because, you know, they're quite similar and I think they would look really nice if they transition into one another, or another word for it is they look like they blend into one another. So I can do that by clicking the little plus button between each of the scenes. So I'm just going to click that plus button and I have the option here to add a page or add a transition. If I add a page, it's just going to add a page in between those 2 scenes. So I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the option here that says add a transition. And what that does is it gives me a list of transition options on the left-hand side. So if I quickly hover over them, I'll be able to quickly preview them here in the canvas. So if I'm hovering over slide, hovering over circle wipe, hovering over line wipe, I actually quite like the circle wipe. So I'm going to click that to apply it. And I can change the direction of it. So here you can see the circle is going in. And then if I hover over out, you can see it preview going outwards. I actually prefer it going outwards. It's almost like a grand reveal of the promo code. And I'm going to change the duration of it so it's a little bit more quicker to fit with the upbeat pace of our video. So if I just play that to preview it again. I like that. The transition is quite subtle. It's not too overbearing. One thing that I really don't like is when videos have really obviously overbearing transitions. Like a transition is more to blend two scenes together rather than to be a statement in itself. Great. So now I'm actually noticing that each of my texts here have little animations applied to them. And that was because they were part of the template. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove the animation from some of them. So I quite like this fly-in animation on the sick of working. And I don't mind the fly-in animation for it's time to treat yourself. But here I think there's a lot happening. So I'm actually going to readjust that animation. And the way to do that is to select the template. And on the top left-hand side of the top bar here, you can see the word tumble. So that means the animation tumble has been applied to this page. So I'm going to click on that where I can access all our page animations. And I'm going to change it to something that's a little bit more subtle. So I can hover over it to see all the different animation. You can see the different effects it has, pan, maybe these are a little bit too subtle. I have tectonic, pop. Pop actually feels quite appropriate. It feels more exciting, like we do free delivery. So I'm going to leave that as is. And if I select any of these elements, I can actually add extra level of customization. So if I select Bradson's Gelato, you can see here that a range of text animations have come up, and that's because I've selected a piece of text. So it's identified that I've selected a piece of text. So I don't actually want Bradson's Gelato to animate at all. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select none. So what that does is while everything else on the page is animating, Bradson's Gelato won't animate. So now I'm quite happy with this. I'll just play it back. Perfect. So now I'm going to do the exact same on this next slide here, on this next scene. So I'm going to select the background of the page and I am going to apply pop. I'm going to select pop and apply that to the entire page. And then Bradson's Gelato here, I'm going to select that once again, and I'm going to apply none. So once again, in order to access any of that, you can select the page and then select this animate button in the top header. So pop was applied. Perfect. So now when I play back this entire video, I should be able to see all my elements come together with a transition, with my new music, with some of those animations. So let's play it back once again. Amazing. So I think that's a really good little short, snappy video. If I look down the bottom here, it's only 12 seconds, which is a really short video. If we think about this on social media, normally you get the option to skip in 5 seconds. So I think the hook that we've created here in the first 5 seconds, so when I've scrubbed to 5 seconds, this is what the audience will see before they can skip it. And I think we've created relatability by saying, are you sick of working? It's time to treat yourself. Creates that point of interest. So the audience is thinking, wait, how do I treat myself? And then we offer the solution of ice cream. So that is a little practice session. Hopefully you could follow along. Were there any questions before I dive into the next parts?
There were a couple of questions. So this is an amazing example of short form video. There's a couple of questions around the length of video that you could edit potentially. Can we do easy as hoping to edit a 1-hour yoga video, for example?
Yeah, so there's actually, I don't think there's a limit on how long your video is. There is a temporary limit, I think, on how many scenes you can have. So I think the limit right now is 100, but we will be extending that. So 100 scenes, but that's not to say there's a limit on the time, but I will have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure we don't have a limit on the time right now. So you can absolutely edit super long videos.
Brilliant, thank you. And Apple has a question. On average, how long is the recommended promo or ad video?
Okay, so there are many different types of promo and ad videos. So it depends what platform you're posting it on. So typically you have 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 15-second versions of ads and promos. So you really got to think about, where am I posting this ad? If it's on social media, you don't want the ad to be 60 seconds because our attention spans just aren't that long for ads and promos. So my recommendation is, if you can keep it under 15 seconds, that's actually ideal. Bearing in mind that most of the time with ads and promos, people have the option to skip it within 5 seconds. So you want it to be engaging within the first 5 seconds. When you're going to 30 seconds, that's where it starts to be more of a story narrative. So you want to make sure, if it is a 30-second ad or promo, it needs to be quite engaging that whole time. If it's 60 seconds, that's where it really becomes challenging to sustain the audience's attention span within the 60 seconds. So my recommendation, particularly if you are a new video creator, is to stick to short and snappy, which is 15 seconds.
One last quick question. Someone has asked a question about voiceovers and uploading their own voiceovers, and whether they control where that plays or whether it will just keep looping.
Yeah, so if you do upload your voiceover, so you can simply drag and drop your uploaded voiceover, and it'll appear in uploads over here on the left-hand tab. And you can see it'll appear where audio is. So it'll appear under the audio tab. You can simply drag and drop it in as you would with any music in Canva, and it will play that portion. So let me just show you a quick example. So imagine this blue here is actually your uploaded audio track, and it's only, this long, so only 6 seconds long. It will only play that once for the 6 seconds. If you want to loop it, you can simply copy and paste it and drag it over. That way it loops, so it'll play side by side. But you can edit audio tracks or your own audio like you would with any other audio in Canva. So moving on, lastly, I'm just going to quickly show how to do it on mobile, because as we all know, mobile is now taking over the video space with all of those different apps such as TikTok, Instagram Reels. So we want to know, how do I create this quickly on the go? So we now have video timeline on mobile, and the interactions have been optimized for smaller screens. So by dragging the timeline left and right, you can scrub through the scenes. So here I've just pressed play to watch it play back, as I did on the desktop before. And remember, the playhead is in the middle. So what's shown in the canvas shows the point in time where the playhead is. You can tap on a scene and you're shown 2 handlebars, and this lets you resize scenes easily with your finger. So you can see here that I'm just resizing the side of my scene just because I've tapped on it, and now I have access to that scrubber. So you can see the handles here look a little bit different to desktop, and that's because we're using our fingers rather than a mouse. To replace a video, you can select it like you would any other element in Canva. Select replace in the bottom bar and search for any other video you want to replace it with. So here I'm searching for streetwear. So I'm searching streetwear, and I'm going to pick a video. So I'm just scrolling through to see what all the different options are. So selected a video. And once again, you can scrub the video by dragging the playhead back and forth, or dragging the timeline, back and forth, and it'll preview that in the canvas. Like on desktop, I can tap split in the bottom bar to divide up the video and delete the section I don't want. And I can tap the play button again just to watch it back. And lastly, I can select any element on the canvas, go to the bottom bar where it says animations, and I can preview different animations applied to that element simply by tapping on them. So you can see here that I've got the sail tap, so I'm just watching that animate individually in relation to the canvas. So you can see that we've optimized a lot of features for mobile that we have available on desktop as well. So lastly, I want you all to make a design or make a video in the next 24 hours and post it on Instagram with the hashtag made in Canva. So that way I'm able to see all the brilliant video designs that you create in the next 24 hours that you've learned from this webinar. So lastly, I'm just going to jump into some handy video resources that we have available to you. So if you go to canva.com/videos, It outlines all our video features and links out to all of our video templates. So this is like a nice little central hub that we have if you forget any of the links that I've mentioned today. I'll pass over to Jess now to talk a little bit about Design School. Thanks, Jess.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jess. So yes, we have even more resources for you on Design School. That is available at designschool.canva.com, and specific video tutorials are available at /tutorials/video. And you can see there we have a series of videos targeting specific skills to help you with some further learning after this workshop. So definitely check that out. We have lots of other content on Design School as well, of course. So I believe on the next slide, we can see more content from Design School. So please check out designschool.canva.com, and you can see all of the webinars and all of the courses that we have available coming up. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see live events. So that's where you'll see all of our webinars. So if you click on that, you'll see a month's worth of content coming up ahead, and you can book into anything that you will think will be of interest. And do remember that you always get the recording as well. So a few people have asked if they will get the recording of this event. Yes, you will. Every event is recorded and is sent out to attendees within a week or so of the event. So please join us there. I also have another link for you, which is for our design circle. So it is our support group or community group for Canva lovers. We've got 180,000 members now, and it's growing all the time. And it's where you can hear about latest product releases. If you want to get feedback on your own designs, people share their designs and ask for feedback from the community. You can also ask us questions. There are community moderators who can help answer your questions as well. So facebook.com/groups/Canva Design Circle is the place to be. So that about wraps it up for today. I think that's it for questions as well. So please join me in giving a huge thank you to Jess for joining us today for such an action-packed workshop and so many brilliant tips. We really appreciate you taking your time and sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here and to share my knowledge with you all.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to seeing you at another Design School workshop very soon. Have a great day or evening, wherever you are. Goodbye.